Welcome back, everyone, to R2Kast number 35. Today we've got Scotland's favourite farming couple, Mel and Martin. If you want to say hello there, guys.
Hello.
Before we get on into another excellent episode of the R2Kast, I would just like to thank the sponsor for the show today, The Scottish Farmer. A weekly magazine highlighting everything you need to know regarding the Scottish agricultural industry, whether it's breaking news, events happening in the sector, market reports, classified ads, or just wholesome stories happening in the industry. The Scottish Farmer's got it for you.
So, Cammy, if you're watching this, I expect some of the money for this. Wearing the Sheep Game merch proudly.
I know, actually, his and hers. Looks good,
brilliant.
Doesn't it?
It does look good, in fairness. Yeah, I'm just annoyed I'm not getting any of the merch sales. I'm sure most of you guys listening have seen or heard about these guys in the last, what will it be, 5 years that everyone shot to fame, would it be? Something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Time flies by, doesn't it? Jeez.
Tell me.
We'll get into their story from starting off in farms all the way to being farming celebrities. I think it'd be fair to say these days. Certainly what it calls you on Google is what it says. So, yeah, could you tell us a bit about your backgrounds? I believe you're both from farms. What type of farms are they? And yeah, a bit about that.
Okay. Do you want me to go?
Yeah,
I'll go. So basically, I was brought up on a dairy farm till I was about 7. So my case has always been, my father's always been the stockman. So he was a stockman on the dairy for, oh God, I can't even think how many years he's been there, but we were there until I was about 7. And then the cows got sold. The farming policy changed, which my father was really gutted about, and I was really gutted about, because I was at the stage of we were going to be taking calves to shows, which I was really keen on. But obviously that fell through with the farming policy. And then he moved, he got a job with my granda, who owns quite a few farms, and he was then a stockman there on a mixed unit, so beef and sheep. There was arable, but he didn't really do much with that. So I was there till I was about, I think it was about 17, and then my mum and dad split and we went separate ways, so it meant having to come off of the farm, which I was completely and utterly devastated about, having grown up on the farms for years. And dad went and pursued his hobby, basically, which is now his job, which is gillying. So still kind of land-based. So I grew up on both that farms. Most of my memories will be from like 7 onwards. So very much involved, following dad about. And I just absolutely loved the sheep. Followed him about for years, learned a lot from him and various other people. There's been quite a few influential people in my life as well as my parents. They were both very supportive and basically get out there and do whatever you want to do. So I did all that, had great memories of it all, learned loads, and then I left school. Well, you're going to ask me years and I can't actually remember what years it is. I just remember. That's cool. Just remember leaving. And I then decided that I definitely wanted to do something involved in agriculture. So I went to Craveston, SAC Aberdeen, which was absolutely fantastic. I learned a lot, mostly of how to drink.
It's important. We've got it.
Very important. Met some really great people there. So I did a degree in agriculture. That was the 3 years, and I thought that was enough. And then I managed to get a job as a technical support assistant within SAC in one of the local offices. Again, that was great, getting to meet farmers and things like that. Really enjoyed that. I did that for a few years, and then decided I needed a change. And
I tell you what, Mel, let's
Am I going too much?
We're going to end up going Mel's story, then Martin's story. We'll try and keep it going. So,
to calm it down.
No, not at all. No, I don't want that at all. It would make sense if we sort of get Martin's back. I've not done this for two people, so it's going to be fun to see how it goes. We'll have one.
It's going to be interesting.
Just sort of go sure. Martin's background, and then we'll join in again about 20-ish, and then go again. See what happens.
Do you want to re-edit that then, or
no? That's perfect. No. What you said is excellent. That's a good time to start off with your backstory then, Martin.
Yeah, so I would be a third generation farmer. If you go back further than that, if you listen to Granny Irvin, it would be cattle rustlers or cattle drivers, I'm not sure. Family farm would have been up in Tomintoul. I was there until I was 4, and then Mum and Dad got a short-term lease at Overton Farm at Elkies Creelkey. So I was there for 4 until I was 7, and then in 1995 we moved to home here, Brayhead Farm, Drumure. So we've been there. That was a 20-year lease, but we got it renewed 6 years ago, and that lease will go until I'm 65. So we've got security here. So born and bred farmer, left school nearly 20 years ago. Did look at SSC, but just wanted to dive straight into it, and just kind of here on the family farm with parents.
It's quite interesting, both of you. I mean, most people that grow up on a farm, I was born in I'm not born on the farm, but on the farm after 2 days old, and spent their childhood too there. You guys have had changes. And you mentioned, Mel, that was quite difficult, and especially twice under 18. You make that place your home. It's so important to family. That in itself must have been quite tough. And again, similar to yourself, Martin, that sort of changing over, but you're too young maybe the first time. But
yeah, I can remember Overton. I remember the farm, and I can remember playing it. I remember all the fields. I remember every name. I remember the cattle we had there, the bulls we had there, and it did gripe me that we left there. There wasn't a chance to stay on. We had to shift. But we're in Brayhead. It's a great farm. It's 180 acres arable, 240 acres altogether. It's not a big place. We run it really intense. And it's now home. And I'm happy enough to stay here. Long lease until I'm 65, which was a nice thing from the estate. And this will be my home as far as I can see it.
And did you take on that lease together, or was that yourself, Martin?
No, it was it was just a business, really. It was a family. So it's not under my name, it's under the business name, really. So basically, I remember the meeting with the estate. The lease was running out. There was 3 years left. And the old laird asked how old I was, when he went to retire. I says, I'll never retire. There you go, it was a 42-year lease, basically. So that sees me right up until I'm 65. So I've got security here, which is nice. Don't get me wrong, the goal is to own my own farm, buy a farm one day. I've got kids not behind me. I'd like to have that kind of opportunity for them. But it's not easy. So at the moment, we're just kind of working really hard here, pushing the acres to the max. The limousine started in 83. It was Mum and Dad started them. We're good at it. We've got a nice herd of cattle. Things are just starting to roll again. There's a nice bunch of bulls coming in, and just have to keep it going.
And it's quite a lot of my listeners are. This originally started. A few people were like, "Oh, well, how do you get into farming?" And it was kind of rubbish for me to say because I wasn't actually working directly in agriculture anymore. But whenever I wanted to work on a farm, I could just go home. So it was a very easy, false example of saying, show myself. So I just wanted to start bringing loads of people in to chat to people and show the different things in there. Could you tell us a bit about that sort of getting that lease? Is it quite a difficult process? Because it's made out to be almost like gold dust these days,
Yeah, well, it's basically impossible now. There was a drive a few years ago for right to buy, tenants right to buy, kind of backfired, and now landowners, lairds shy away from long-term leases now. So you'll see a lot of 1-year leases, 5-year leases, maybe a 10-year lease, but that kind of long leases, things that was of the old days are gone now. And to get a lease these days is, hen's teeth.
And never mind a 1-year lease, a 5-year lease, you can't get you can
It's
start
so
to
short.
implement a plan.
Yeah, it's way too short. Way too short in agriculture.
Yeah, I think with like a short-term lease, 5-term lease, whoever's coming in, they're maybe going to pay high for it, but they're just going to rape the ground, rape everything off it. Again, they're not going to put on expensive fertilizers. They're not going to fence. They're not going to drain. They're going to take as much out of it. And I think after that lease is run out, the farm's just going to suffer for it. Again, so I don't like the idea of it.
No, it's quite scary. It's quite a scary sort of prospect. Really, be lucky if anyone's putting fertilizer on anymore. No, I guess it's starting to come down a wee bit at the minute. But Mel, you went to do your degree. You did that in agriculture. Did SAC just follow straight on working with SAC, or was that a bit of time between there?
No, I followed straight on. So it was basically kind of college finished. I think it could have been a couple of weeks, and started looking for a job and got offered one in a local office. So it was where it was Elgin, so it was literally like 5 minutes away from the house where we were at. So it made sense to just kind of grab that opportunity and try it out and see whether I liked it or whether I wanted to pursue it.
And were you there for long? What was involved?
I would have been there for about maybe 3 years.
Yeah, 3 years.
Something like 2-3 years. And I was quite like, I don't want to be too much stuck in an office because I don't like being stuck in an office. So I got out to do lots of soil samples, measuring fences. I basically assisted the consultants that were there and did a little bit of consultant work as well. Crunching numbers for people and assisting out at monitor farms, which I really enjoyed doing, and getting out and speaking to farmers. And we obviously had a lot of experts come in and give talks for farmers. And yeah, it was good. I did enjoy my time at SAC, but it just wasn't quite hands-on enough as what I'd probably wanted or was used to. So
is that something as time goes on you could see yourself dipping back into, or do you not think that's
probably not?
No.
Probably not. No. I just probably because obviously after meeting Martin and having the 2 kids, I haven't actually went back to full employment. Like I haven't been in employment since having the kids really. I had some part-time work at Scott EID, which I really enjoyed that part of. I just like being outside too much.
Yeah, I give her plenty of work. So.
Yeah.
Is it that
the
way?
graph master here.
I was going to say, is it the other way around, or should I not get
well,
yeah, that's why we've got a couple hundred sheep.
Yeah.
Keeps me busy.
Yeah, it keeps me busy. So
you mentioned the wee ones. What age are the wee ones? Are they interested?
Yeah, so Erin's 5, so she'll be 6 this year in April, and Matthew's just not long turned 4.
Showing an interest.
Yes. Yeah. They are very very hands-on. They do like to be outside, don't get me wrong. There's some days when they just don't want to, but they are minority those days. They just have to be outside with us quite a lot, especially when Erin came along. Everyone was like, oh, everything will change. And it does. Your priorities do change. But she very much had to fit in with what we were doing. She was either strapped to the front of me or strapped to her back. I vividly remember not SEC, but the BBC filming things, and I had her strapped to my back, and I'm busy down in the ground lambing a yow, and she was just there. She just had to be there. So they but when Matthew came along, it was still the same kind of scenario, but it was a bit different because, Erin's up walking, so you've got to watch where this one is. This one needs fed, and yeah. So
just imagine trying to facilitate that Matthew and Erin's back.
Yeah, no. Well, it is sometimes like that now that they're that bit older. So yeah, interesting.
But I mean that's a great upbringing, isn't it? I mean, I spent my life, not my life, that'd be weird. I spent my younger days on my mum's back as well, just doing whatever, and whether you learn stuff consciously, probably not, but it's a good start.
It's honestly
they're roughy toughy. They are roughy toughy.
And they're feral.
They're on the wellies, the leggings, the jackets, the hat, and they're feral, pretty much feral.
It's a good way, I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, they enjoy themselves, and it's nice having them about me. if they're not at school, they're with me. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you see them every day.
See them every day.
Yeah, which is it just feels like that's just what I was used to as a kid, and it's the truth is it's probably not the case for everyone, and it's got to be a brilliant thing as a parent as well. COVID must have been fun. Homeschooling. Well, maybe not quite. No.
Yeah, because they were off. So Erin's she'll be in primary 2 in summer. So basically,
yes,
when they were off, I was just like, well, I didn't teach her nothing. She just came outside and did whatever. Basically, if you can take down an electric fence and you can lamb a yow, I'm pretty much there. I'm happy with that. And they were as young that we didn't really do any homeschooling at all. Well, actually, the homeschooling was just outside, so they just learned stuff that we were doing. So it actually didn't change that much for us.
Yeah, it's just as important, that stuff, as whatever's happening in school.
Oh yeah,
you know,
absolutely. Yeah.
It probably doesn't bear thinking about what it must have been like to have been just in a flat or a house, or
that would have been a nightmare for the kids that are stuck inside, couldn't go out, or parents. We were lucky. We were lucky being on the farm during COVID.
Yeah.
No, for sure. You've mentioned the home farm a couple of times, sort of mentions of the area and that sort of thing. Could you tell us a bit about what's being run, what sort of systems are going on there?
So, 180 acres arable, 240 acres altogether. We used to run a lot of malt and barley, but just being higher up, a bit later cut in the year, we were missing the malt and barley market. So we phased out all the barley, and now we're just about all grass. So maybe a 15, 20 acre a year barley. And pulling in all that grass, we've now got sheep. So the sheep started 5 years ago. We started with a flying flock. So buying in old cheap yows, the cheaper the better. Squeezed the last bit out of them, got another couple of lambs out of them, sold the lambs at foot, made money at that, but you were dealing with old yows. So we did that for 4 years. And then this year, we'd built up to 450 old yows, and we cashed them in, and we bought in 200 gimmers. So we've now got a young flock, which is to Mel's delight. So things will be easier. So in the next couple of years, we'll probably increase the sheep back up to about 350. Nice comfortable number. They're quite heavily stocked. We're kind of running between 7 and 8 yows an acre, which is quite intense. As long as the weather's good and it's dry, it works. The cattle, we've run about 64 pedigree Limousin females. And other than that, I do a bit of contracting, which is about 250 acre cereals out and about for the local estate. And that's it, really.
Is that combine?
We brought in some store lambs.
We tried store lambs. We brought in 350 store lambs back in September, and we're cashing them in now. Something different. They're working well. They'll be raising about 35, maybe 40 quid. There's money in it. There's work in it, but it's just what we do.
Buying in to store lambs in September this year is a bold move, or was a bold move. It's worked out.
I know. We obviously chose the dearest year to do it.
The last 2 years, kind of chickened out in a way. And this year says, right, I'm buying them. So we bought 350. The average would have been about £71. I'm looking at about a cost of about £20 a head. We're selling them now in and from £118 to £136. It's back this week. We're about £5.50 a kilo this week. But I'll survive that. And then we're still making a profit. So I looked at 350 lambs. If I make a profit, the minimum was 20 quid, but it's looking more like 35 quid profit ahead. It's still a good profit.
Yeah.
But we're talking. Sorry.
Along with the 1,000 lambs already had off the yows anyway, so it was just falling with the bunch. Like,
But to be saying the phrase "back to 550" is somewhere we did not expect to be. You know, it's kind of deserved and where we need to be, especially coming into whatever Brexit means.
Absolutely, that's what we've been saying since the prices went so high. It's like, this is where we need to be. You know, we've always been so far back,
Yeah, but it was at Christmas time. It was like £6.20 a kilo, and that was lambs coming back like £142.
Yeah, it was crazy.
That's maybe where it should be.
It should.
But lambs back, probably be back for a couple of weeks. I think it'll rise again, hopefully. We've still got just under 500 lambs still to go, so we're in a good place. The sheep do make money. They're a lot of work, but if you've got the right system, good fences, and I think sheep are a good thing. Like,
do you use a Franks? Do you have Prattleys or something like that? What are you working with?
It's a funny story because when we first went into sheep, we didn't have a handling system, and folk will have seen on this farming life we did the estate sheep, which is only like 4 miles away from us, and we kind of said that we needed a handling system, and they'd got one up there, but yet we didn't have one at home, and everything was done with just the hurdles, the sheep hurdles. And we look back, I was scrolling back through social media and looking at things and said to Martin, I was like, do you remember when we used to heptivac all those lambs by lifting them up and jagging? Oh, it was a nightmare. So we then invested in a Ritchie's combi clamp, and it's just been a complete game changer.
But it took me, we haven't used one at home. Barony had one. They've got a Tipari system coming now, but it had one of those Ritchie ones. I could not get used to it, and then once you get used to it, brilliant. It took me a few times, but
we've had it 3 years now.
I tell you what,
roughly we bought it a year too early. So if I wasn't so desperate to get it, I could have waited a year and got it in a grant. So I missed that.
Of course, you wouldn't know that. You didn't know at the time. So.
Yeah. I know. So I says, no, we're having it. We're buying it. Just over $4,000. It just makes life so much easier. You can fire through the sheep quicker. It makes it so much easier. It suits your system. I like it. I do like it.
Just picture it happening in the hurdles. It
was awful.
It just sounds painful.
It was awful. And
and to me that's frustrating because I like to be efficient in my time. And I like things done as quickly and efficiently as possible, and that wasn't happening.
It was horrendous.
Yeah, so no, we're getting there.
But then it's always good to kind of look back and see where you've kind of like come. Like there's obviously been progress.
You can appreciate where you are.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
No, absolutely. Tell us a bit about the beef side. I will hold my hands up. My beef knowledge is dreadful. So you could probably tell me stuff, and I'm like, great.
Do you want to buy a bull? No. I'll show you.
Go back with Mum and Dad. Back to when I lived in Tom and Towel, a farm in the Cape. Dad had a few cross cows, and then Mum and Dad in '83 bought their first limousines, heifers, and it kind of just built up from there. So when we went to the farm Overton at Craigelkey, Aberlour, used to be like 20 lambs, 25 crosses. And then when we came here in '95, we kind of phased out, well, basically just kind of after I left school, we phased out all the commercials and bred up the pures, and we built the numbers up to 85, and then we could continued kind of back to 50 and up to 65 bar the new. And just been enjoying that. That's the bit I enjoy of the farm, is the pures. Kind of it's a very slow thing. The breeding, it takes time, it takes years to get your vision to come, and sometimes it just doesn't happen. You've got to start again with a different bloodline, but that's my love, is the limbs for me.
So basically, their purpose for us is to breed bulls to then go on and sell to people who obviously want to buy a Limmy bull to then put onto their cows. Yeah. So it's the bull job is mainly what the beef is what we do. And
then this last 2-3 years between COVID and being seen on TV selling bulls at home. Get on really well selling bulls at home. This last 5 years especially, return customers. You sold somebody a bull, they've done them a good job, they're on the phone, have you got another bull? As much as I like going to the market and selling the bulls there and let people see what I've got, I do like a home sale. So much easier, and especially being as busy as you are and having a family, it's nice to have things sold at home, the kind of money you're happy with.
Less hassle.
There's a sense of comfort to it as well.
But it's also another nice thing of it. Sorry, I'm jumping in. That we've often had people come around and say, can we come and see bulls? And Martin's like, yep, grand. And then they get to see the mum and the granny and the sisters of the bull, and and the stock bull if we have them there at the time, and things like that. So it's almost like a reassurance for the buyer as well. They can come in. It's nice for other people to come. Like we like going around to people's farms and having a snoop and seeing what they're doing differently and things like that. Everybody's nosy. So
if somebody comes in to look for a bull, the time they've shown them everything, all the relations and the bulls that are for sale, very much 90% of the time leave their bull.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I think, to be honest with you, buying a bull at home is the best way to do it if you have the time. I'd love to do it. And you go to the mart, you get to see the bull on the day. You don't know nothing else about the bull except what we could tell you. If you go on farm, you get to see the whole family, the bloodlines, and you get to pick them. And you do get good deals at home. You can take less at home. There's less expense. So I always think you get a good deal at home, and if I'm happy, they're happy. But I do like going to the mart.
It is.
Yeah, well, that's it.
On the flip side, you get to see people that you don't see for months on end, and the social side of it's good. And it's, you always speak about it as keeping your finger on the pulse. It's good to see what other people are breeding, what other breeding's doing for other people. So I don't know. It's hard.
It's hard. I do like a home sale, but we haven't been to the bulls to the mart as much as normal because we're selling half of them at home. So if people aren't seeing you, it's a vicious circle.
It's hard.
I mean, a best of both worlds type deal to try, touch into both. Probably because that social side, it must have been a massive worry for a lot of, especially single and older people in the industry. That sort of market trip was like their church on the Sunday. They really
definitely,
absolutely.
With the bulls, do you go into EBVs or anything like that, or?
I don't follow ABVs, but I need to watch them because the buyers do.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I don't pick a bull in ABVs, but we're quite lucky that most of the bulls I like have decent ABVs, and it carries on to the bulls or the progeny we've got. But no, I'm not religious in it at all. I use my eye more than anything. What I really do like in my breeding is the female lines. I really like good female lines. If I was looking at stock bulls or female lines, it's all the mums and the grannies in that line what I like. Yeah, definitely.
No, good. No, it's here. Some people are into it, some people aren't, and there's merits to both of them. And looking behind you, showing is obviously a thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just the cattle, sheep as well. Everything?
Well, we've I don't think we mentioned Blue Texas.
No, I forgot about that.
Terrible.
That's your thing.
It's our thing. It's our thing. So obviously, he just provides the money, and I pick which ones I like. So showing again for the beef side.
Yeah, we've missed it.
We've
missed it the last 2 years. And the first year of COVID, that summer was no shows. It was quite, in a way, it was nice. So much free time and got things done on the farm. It was nice. Last year, missed it heavily.
Yeah.
Really missed the shows last year. Highland show, the local shows, a lot. So hopefully this year, everything's planned to go as normal. First stunt will be the Highland show. So the show team's picked out. I've got a heifer picked out. I've got bulls lined up. Mel,
I'm hoping
to get some blue Texans as well.
I would like to. That's like my goal is to take something nice there. But so just now, well, it was past when the shows have been on. I think we had, was it 2 years of the blues being out or one? Anyway, we've just started doing things with Blue Texels. So because we just started them in 2018. So obviously getting a minute or two to find your feet. But yeah, so we will be out this year with some limousines and hopefully some Blue Texels. So, and it is, again, like we were saying about the social side, that's what we miss about the shows. Like getting the tickets. Don't get me wrong, I probably think that orange one is a sixth, but I put it up there because it was some of the ones that I got with the Blue Texels, but the other ones, it's great getting a first prize or a championship prize or anything like that. But to be honest, we just like getting out and seeing people. And because it's majority of it's like-minded people or neighbours that we have, and we've got a good kind of farming community around us that we get along really well with. So the banter's usually carried on from one show, who's going to win this class, to the next show, well, you won at that show, so it's surely my turn, and just competitive banter between fellow breeders, which we really enjoy as well. So
we don't get out much, to be honest.
We don't.
Yeah, we don't get out much.
No.
And I think the shows
a holiday.
The holiday, they get us out.
It's like a busman's holiday. Is that what you call it? Yeah.
It's funny. Only us farmers could choose our only holiday to be still with the cows and still with the sheep.
I know.
Like you say, you're surrounded with like-minded people.
Yes,
they're all there to compete, try and win as much as everybody else. And of course, there's a beer tent not far away, or there's a kiff or something in it you can all have a laugh with. So.
Oh no, and I'll be looking out for you this year. Try to bump into you, and obviously I'll be completely sober. We don't take into the Highland show, so yes, it's just food hall and beer tent, to be honest, and having a look.
Oh, lovely.
But well, it is lovely. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It's great to see and this year is going to be brilliant, isn't it? Like, I mean, we haven't seen anyone in so long. It's going to be good fun. Interesting. We're talking about showing. I'm going to pick a thing from the back of my mind that might not be you at all. I'm positive it's you guys. I remember reading in the Scottish Farmer that when you met Mel, you said to Martin, Aberdeen Angus would be better than Limousin. Is that right? Yes, I thought so. The start of love, you know.
That was at the Highland show, actually. That was at the Highland show. I remember it.
I think there probably could have been quite a few beers consumed by then. So I'd obviously not met Martin at that point.
Well, it wouldn't have been beer in Blue.
Oh, or Smirnoff Ice.
Yeah.
So I would have been a lot younger, and when I was speaking about how like I had quite a few influential people in my life, there's one particular woman who came up to the mixed farm that I grew up on and did a lambing with us, and kind of took me underneath her wing as well and taught me loads. And she still to this day has pedigree Aberdeen Angus. So she would take me to shows every weekend, or I'd be up at hers in Aberdeenshire for a week or two at a time. So basically I would help show her sheep, and then we did some things with Angus's. And then of course I must have been down one of the cattle lines. And how did we even bump into each other? I think I just saw
you in the cattle lines. And I came over to speak to you. And it was basically, I like Aberdeen Angus, they're better. So I think it was basically a quick turn back to the party, and then I left it.
So that's kind of how that one went.
But she's converted now. She can't look at an Aberdeen Angus without cringing slightly.
Oh. We can both appreciate a good animal. Yeah. This is what we have said.
And has Mel changed your mind anyway, Martin? Or
yes,
sheep. There you go, sheep.
110%. Because he was like,
I hate sheep. I hated sheep.
I hate sheep. Oh, I hate sheep.
Mel, what if sheep was around about 30, was it?
35 hogs at a Dingwall, and came back with them. Tucked them and then lambed them, and sold the lambs at foot. And then Martin seeing the profit that was made, and I think probably liked the profit more than he liked the sheep, but knew that he had to have the sheep to get the profit. So
about 100 the next year,
and then it just kind of
200. There was 280. There was 350, and then 450, and then
he took on the estate's job as well. So yes,
by the time we were a year into the sheep, we took on the estate job, which was 550. Contract shepherd, did it for 3 years. And then we kind of realised we'd make more money off 100 sheep at home than looking after 500 for the estate. So we dropped that. I know it was only 4 miles away, but that was far enough. It was a long time running about. I got fed up with that. So we just increased the numbers here. Increased it up to 450. It was like kind of nearly 10 sheep an acre. It was real pushed.
But I think it's safe to say that we've both converted each other in some way or another.
Did you guys do Young Farmers?
Yes.
So
basically, we would have met at Highland Show. I would have been younger at that point, I think.
Yeah, a year later.
Yeah, and then about a year or two later.
I assume you're still younger.
Yeah.
So 7 years
between us.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm 30.
Yeah, there's 7 years between us. Yeah. I'm 37. That's 30.
And then we met, because I was Lower Speyside and Martin was Keith, so we're staying in the same district. So obviously did quite a few things, separate clubs, but in the same district. And then we met at a young farmers dance where I think I was on the door taking money for majority of the evening. So Martin was obviously at the bar where the boys usually stand, and was well oiled, shall we say, and came up to me and was like, "Hey, since when did you get so hot?" And I was like, "Pardon? Excuse me," type of thing. And it just went from there.
That was it, yeah.
Just like someone who likes Aberdeen Angus can look like this.
I know. Oh my God. There was a lot of banter. So that would have been like show season time as well.
Yeah.
So
we started speaking.
And I vividly remember then we were at Keith. There was Keith. Young Farmers Keith dance, and that was before the Keith show. And then, of course, there was like Martin getting one of his pals to dance with one of my best friends, so he could then dance with me and all that sort of courtship. And then again, I was at the show with one of my best pals, Wendy, and she was like, "Oh, a sheep had ripped its tag out of its ear on the morning of when we'd arrived at the showground." She's like, "Oh, go down and see if you can get some talc from your uncle, because my uncle shows cementals as well." So, and of course, it was like a case of like walking down the cattle lines very early in the morning, feeling slightly hungover, and then walking past him and all of his pals and being like, "Hi," keep walking. there was a lot of stuff like that, and it just kind of snowballed from there, basically. So we could say that we did meet through Young Farmers, as a lot of farming couples, I'm sure, have that story.
12 years ago. 12 years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
12 years. Very good. And quite a famous wedding talked about on the TV. Now we've
2.8 million people watched that.
That is, that's royal wedding levels, is it not?
Move over, Harry and Meghan.
I think Gogglebox was 6.5 million.
Oh, I can't remember. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, Gogglebox was 6.5 million. What's that cartonage?
It's 6.5.
Yeah. Mental.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, we've been talking about the telly throughout, and for those of you that somehow don't know Mel and Martin, they sprung to farming fame, shall we say, on this farming life, as a lot of people in Scotland and North England have. If you haven't seen it, it's a great show. That there's a lot of shows out there talking about farming, your country fills, your landwards and stuff, but there's not many that really get into the nitty gritty. I think Jeremy Clarkson's Farm did a pretty good job. But with a lot of real people out there, Clarkson himself said at the end, not a lot of people have the Amazon film crew. They have Grand Tour to go to. It was good to see the real people, and still is going on BBC Two. So check out This Farming Life on BBC iPlayer if you want to go back to series 1 and 2. You guys were on. You were on the first
1 and 2. Yeah.
Their stories there, and just on this, with one of your bridesmaids, Kaylee.
Yes.
So Kaylee, the year we won our Aaron show, Kaylee did the article on it for the fun.
So she was reporting for Scottish Farmer at the time.
Yeah. There's always a connection.
There is.
Again, like Kaylee, I met Kaylee at college, so
right.
Like I was Melissa Kelly and she was Kaylee Kennedy, obviously, and so like the K's were on the same kind of register. So we were quite often paired, and me and her were basically joined at the hip through college. So I met my bridesmaid at college, that connection. So obviously,
Again, like college young farmers, like so many folk do. And it's one of the two main places. But could you tell us a bit about being on the telly and coming sort of semi-famous with it? What filming was involved? How did it come about as well?
The fact that you even say like famous or semi-famous always makes me cringe, because it's like, I don't know. We're just normal people, aren't we? Like
I think it started off with the estate was approached by the BBC. It was like they must have pushed out to estates and landowners. Would you be interested? Do you know anybody interested in be this program? And at the time, we had Lamb and Live. That was the previous year.
That's right.
So we thought we were going to be taking over for Lamb and Live. And of course, we just started up sheep. I was like, oh, no. Oh, but it's not lambing live. It's going to be a new thing. And I kind of said, nope. And then
it's a bit, yeah,
you brought that up, and I was like, no, I'll just look like an idiot on TV. I'm not doing that.
Well, we brought it to the table and spoke to Martin's mum and dad as well, because it's obviously a family-run farm. It's not just me and Martin. It's them as well, and they were like, no, I'm not doing that. No. And I said, well, okay, but if you see it on the TV and then think, oh, we could have been part of that, you'd be like, and you kind of mulled it over, and your mum and dad were like, well, if you want to, on you go. But it wasn't guaranteed then. So basically it was like, apply, or say you're interested, okay. Oh, can we come out and do a screen test with you? And we're like, oh my God, what is that?
Yes, the shortly there was 20.
That's right.
And we were one of the 20. Went around the 20 farms, filmed for a day. So it was our first time in front of the camera, spoke to us, scenes of the livestock. Never thought much more about it. Then they came back, we've picked you, you're one of the 5. And I was like, oh, this is real, this is happening.
Here's the contract.
Here's the contract.
Can you sign it? And we're like, oh my God, okay.
But at that point, what was going to be happening.
Yeah.
And then producers came out or whatnot, and they basically just wanted to see as it is. So we said, right, we will show you the good, the bad, and ugly. And we'd never had nothing. We just showed them everything. And I think that's what made it quite nice.
It made it real.
Yes,
it's
real. I was going to say, it's real. It's what, And I think sometimes, because of the bad press that farming gets in general, we maybe, I don't want to say guilty, because you can hardly blame for this, but we as an industry hide the bad and hide the sort of bits you don't want to see. But that's what I really liked about it.
I think that's what also the general public really loved about it. They had no idea. Some of our families, distant families, were like, we didn't realize that you guys were so busy. And it's like, but do you know what I mean? It's like, and stuff to us that we found normal. Like the BBC were like, right, I want what you're doing in January, what you're doing in February, everything. Write down whatever you're doing. So we were like, calving cows and dozing sheep. Oh, they're not going to want to see dozing sheep. Oh, no. We want to see everything. So they basically picked kind of most things that they would like to cover with us. And we'd said, oh, this would be really good to see. But so basically they filmed with us at least 2 to 3 days a week. Some days it could be one day a week. Other days two, 3, or maybe a full week.
Plus 3 weeks. Come back again for 3 days a week. And 2 days next week, away for a fortnight, back again. They actually rented a holiday cottage 10 miles away for the whole year, just for the film crew just to stay there, just as a base.
Been handy for the people that rent that out.
And
it worked though, because likes of that things, like the jumbo calving that everybody goes on about. If you've not seen it, it's basically a cow that had a really tough time calving, and it was a huge calf. But it was like that was gold dust for that. That was 8-9 o'clock at night though, and so you were like phoning Zoe and Alison, being like, "Look, girls, this cow's calving," and they were like, "Right, we're just coming out. We're just gonna chuck our stuff in the bags and we're coming out." So like they were basically on call for us to phone, like, "This is happening. Do you want to come and see it?" And they would never say no. And throughout that time, filming with us, the film crew became our really good pals. Like they were great people. Honestly, we couldn't have got on better. And they had their minds completely blown by, because they'd never been on a farm. They never knew what happened on a farm. We had one that was preferred plant-based diet.
Yeah. Other one was a vegetarian.
But the plant-based diet one, she was like, "Oh, I don't want to eat like meat full of antibiotics." And we were like, "Oh God!" And hormones. We're like, "But it's not."
Yeah.
So, and she was like, "I didn't know that."
Yeah, mind blowing. Yeah. She just thought there was antibiotics and steroids in her beef, and I was like, "No." She just, it's education. And she just came away from that conversation, and she thought different of beef.
Yeah, completely.
She was worried about this antibiotic steroids. It's just not there. That's just what people. And she was from Glasgow. Yeah.
But this is. But that's the
problem.
What is it? GnRH growth promoter. What?
Yes. Yeah. I know what you're trying to say. Yeah.
No, that's something else. It's something like that anyway.
Yeah.
I hope you've kicked your feet up and got comfy and enjoying another fantastic episode of the R2Kast with another really interesting guest. I would just like to quickly take another second to plug the sponsors of the show today, the Scottish Farmer, and I would strongly advise you to go out and pick one up this week and see even more of the fantastic people that are in our industry.
But things like we're filming this, for those listening that follow often, I film this sort of a few months ahead. We're filming this at the end of February, and BBC's Panorama regarding the dairy industry just came out. And now
that was awful.
I didn't watch it, but I knew it was going to be. And I think we all, as a farming collective, we agree that what's shown in these things, we all disagree with those things. It's the tarring 100%. of the whole industry with that one brush, and that that hormones literally aren't legal here.
Yeah, I know.
Hormone injection.
And we were we couldn't believe that she was thinking that, and it was just like, oh my God, Jane, no, that's just no, it doesn't happen here. And the fact that we've opened our mind about that is obviously a good thing. But all following on from the filming thing, they were great pals with us. We got on so well with them.
Oh, they were good fun.
They were great fun. And at lambing time, I had to do something. I was away with work at one day, and it just so happened to be a really, really busy day up at the States lambing, obviously. So left Martin to it. But
the kind of day when there's 50, 60 sheep lambing in one day. It was that day. And the two film crew was Zoe and Alison. And I'm sweating. But I'm by myself. She was away at work that day. And they put the cameras down, and they helped me the whole afternoon. And they got a crash course of everything. So I basically lambed, and they were taking everything back to the pens, and that was their afternoon. They loved it. They were driving the tractors, they were on the quad bike.
They were lambing yows.
They
had their hand in the cows.
Well, not calfing a cow, but they were feeling a cow calfing. They just wanted to learn.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Touched the electric fence, everything. They did it.
And you let them do that, but as sure.
Well, the story was Alison was on the camera, and she put her back against the electric fence, and I seen her twitch, and I goes, "Did you touch that electric fence?" She's like, "Was that what that was?"
Yeah, mains power.
Mains power. Something laughing to myself, and Mark, who was on sound, you could just see him looking at it. I want to touch it. I was like, "You want to touch it?" I do want to touch it. I've never touched an electric fence before. Says, "Go touch it." Anyway, touches it. Nothing.
And you and your dad come.
And I'm like, phoning Dad. Electric fence is on probably full power. It's a full kick. So down to the farmer, went closer, tested it, full power. Take off your shoes, Mark. So he touched it, took off his shoes and touched it. And he jumped in the air and he was squealing, and just things like that. I can just remember stuff like that. It was so funny. They were just so keen to learn and try things. Yeah, I think they were quite grateful, as much as we were, but they were grateful of being on the farm and getting to do things. So they were just chuffed a bit. And it was nice. And them being on the farm made it easier for filming, because we were explaining to them, somebody that didn't know nothing about farming, which made it easier to come across on TV.
Yes, and I had Adam Henson on the podcast, and talking about that, he was talking about the fact that, I can't even think of an example. You just say something that makes sense to you because you worked in a farm your whole life, and they're like, "No, you can't say that." It's a really weird trying to get that. I don't want the farmers watching to think I'm a fool. But also, which is a big part of it. I know.
You had to think and trying to get it across so the average public would understand it.
They were good at explaining that. It's like, can you say that, but explain it again, or. But you were.
There was a lot of outtakes. There was a lot of that.
I would love to see that.
Well, the outtakes should be hilarious.
Oh well, if they're there for a year, it's only on for, is it 6 or 8 episodes?
Yeah, and they filmed loads of us. I can't emphasize how much. I'm pretty sure what ended up on the cutting floor could have probably done another series, and I'm sure the other families will feel the same. but yeah, so they were keen to like film big kind of things as well as the little things. And of course, when we were filling out the form, oh well, we're getting married, I think that was probably one of the like, oh, you're getting married? Yes, we're getting married. Do you think that we could maybe film that? And we were like, well, if we're going to get a free wedding video out of it, we might as well. So yeah, on you go type of thing. So
but it got to the point after about a month of filming, you just didn't notice the camera.
Yeah.
At the start, all you could see was this camera basically a foot and a half from your face, and trying not to look at it was hard. After a month, you just kind of forgot about it.
Yeah.
And you got to know the camera could just got easy.
Yeah, it did. It was very much like, almost like, obviously, you know, like if you point a camera, a video one or a normal camera that just takes pictures of people, they're like rigid, you know, and they're like, oh. But like you say,
after a month,
it just kind of felt a lot easier. You were just like,
yeah. Well, I'm used to this, you know.
That sounds really big-headed, doesn't it? But we're not.
It's. I think that's the case, though, isn't it? I mean, there's parts of this farming life where it's sort of piece to camera, you chatting about whatever, but for the most part, it's just filming what's happening.
Yeah.
It's
also like
it became easy.
It did, and it's we and everybody asked us, did you enjoy it? And yes, we did enjoy it. It was good fun. It was great crack. And the reception that we got from farmers, especially that we were worried about in public, like everybody said it was really good. And it's also really nice for us to have to look back on. And, you know, like the kids will be able to watch it. Oh, there's mum and dad and granddad on the TV, you know, or again, look back at it and think, oh my God, if we do stuff like that, is that how we did things? Or, oh, look at how different that field's changed. Or
look how much hair I had.
It's funny. Just for those of you listening, guys, if you haven't just sort of watched as the episodes come out, this is number 35. The last one's number 34. It's also with someone from This Farm in Life, Lynn and Sandra at Limbrick Croft. And then number 31 was Stephen Mitchell, the Buffalo Farm. So if you want to hear sort of stories of other folk that have been on This Farm in Life, number 31 and 34, and I'm positive there's another one, but I can't remember who it is. But the reason I'm saying this is number 34, Lynn from Limbrick Croft that was on talking said, you know, looking back, people ask you enjoy it, and they're like, yes, but I was quite nervous. And you remember sort of being nervous. It was their first ever year farming that they were filmed. And she was like, but you watched the film, and she's like, we were happy. And it's so nice to have that sort of documented, you know, so it must be nice. It must be quite cool to be able to show the wee wins and stuff.
Absolutely. And like, I don't know whether this is more the fuel us or not, but some of the newer ones that are on the series now, you know, they are promoting themselves, and it's maybe because farmers, we as industry, we need to diversify and do things, and we haven't. We have just stayed as farming. We're not promoting it. We're not promoting anything, saying, oh, we're just doing this, and it would be great if it, but maybe it's more for us that we haven't done anything like that, but we are just farming.
I don't think it's more fool you. It's just that, I mean, looking at that from that perspective, Mel, yourself, you've got quite a big following online, and I'm assuming that bring opportunities as well. And you know,
that was almost stumbled across kind of. And then I think, oh, I should have done it. I should have done it when it was on on TV and that. But it was actually one of my best pals was like, oh, you need to do Instagram. I thought, I can't be bothered. No.
You're kind of saying we should have milked it more at the time.
That sounds terrible.
I know it sounds terrible, but we didn't. We just it is what it is.
We just sat back and enjoyed it, and enjoyed taking people literally on our farming life.
Yeah.
And then,
exactly, which it was.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to do a GoFundMe page and maybe buy a farm.
Help us poor farmers, you know.
But like, oh, sorry, on you go.
No, on you go, Mel.
I was just gonna say, like, the social media thing is almost like I just want to kind of carry on of what we did on This Farm in Life. So it was one of my best pals. Like, oh, you should go on to it. No, I can't be bothered. And then I did. And then folk were like, oh my God. And I don't have like anything like I am on This Farming Life. I just write that in my bio. It appeared on BBC's This Farming Life type of thing. And then folk were, following and messaging saying, really enjoy what you're doing. And I literally just kind of based on what we did. So I basically show warts and all of what we're doing. It's mostly the kids doing funny stuff as well.
Yes, it is. This is great.
Yeah. Here's Matthew carrying a mouse that he's caught in a mouse trap, or he's wrestled off the dog, and just stuff like that. But yeah, that kind of thing's just kind of picked up as well. But
it's endless. There's so much repeats and reruns.
Oh,
and of course, it's This Farming Life all over the world. There's people from every corner of the world has messaged us, sent us letters. We've been sent stuff, clothing, stuff like that.
Baby clothes,
old mail, emails.
Old ladies knit these beautiful little jumpers. Because obviously, so it was filmed 14, went out 15, and then Erin was born April 16. So people had then found out that I was pregnant at the time, and like these little old ladies had knitted these beautiful little jumpers for Erin and things like that, and it was just, that was mind-boggling. Like, piles, like every day there was letters coming in from folk, and we were just like, how? Hate mail. We've got hate mail as well. So
yeah, but you say you got hate mail, but the way you tell the fact of all the nice stuff just trumps it, doesn't it? Like that's
it is. It was what I had. We had one letter out of hundreds that was a hate mail, and that was it. But
and the dresses were hilarious. It was Martin and Mel, This Farming Life, Scotland, and it made it to us.
Oh, really?
Letters in the post would come through.
Brilliant.
Martin and Mel, This Farming Life, Scotland, and we got it.
Yeah,
it's funny.
Excellent.
A lot of nice stuff. Missed it the last 2 years because of COVID, but at the time of the shows, young kids.
Oh, that was lovely. Yeah.
Boys and girls at a Highland show want to come and see us, speak to us, selfies.
Can we get a photo with you guys? And we're like, yeah.
I've got a lot of time for that. I quite like that.
Yeah.
Nice.
I had vividly remember a Balmoral show over in Ireland. Martin was judging just after Erin was born, so that was 2016. And I didn't have a catalogue, so I was like, all right, we'll go and get a catalogue. And Stephen and Denise came over with us as well, so they were helping with Erin as well. And went, excuse me, can I get a catalogue? Oh yes, yeah, judge's wife, yeah, that's fine. So I was walking back with it to the tent, and there was this wee girl, and I can't even think how old she was, maybe 10, and with maybe a sister or a friend. She came up and she was like, oh my god, oh my god, you're Mel off the TV. I'm total fangirl in here. And I was just like, hi. It was just so surreal. And I didn't know what she was like. Oh my god, I just absolutely loved you off the TV. I can't. She was just completely beside herself. And I was just like, I'm just a normal person here. Hi, how are you? Type of thing. Are you having a good day? And she was just completely beside herself, which to us feels like, oh my god, this is just so weird. It was weird. And even still now, so however many years down the line, if we go out to Aberdeen or somewhere heavily populated, there'll be at least one person who goes, you were the farmers off the TV, right? Yes. And we're like, oh my god, yes, that was us. Now, like, how are things? They're interested to know, one, did we enjoy the filming, and two, how are things? And you've got kids. Oh, that's great. Like, and it's constant, isn't it? Yeah. Not as much now, but I can guarantee if we go in a heavily populated, especially town area, there's at least one person.
But it's good to hear it's all positive. Well,
absolutely,
for the most part,
definitely. It was very well received, and that I think was the best part of it. Yeah, people enjoyed it.
Lots of letters. These annoying people asking you on podcasts. That's
This is our first podcast that we've done. So
is it?
Yes, you are the first. You are the first.
Brilliant title, that one.
Maybe even the last. Who knows?
Exclusive.
Exclusive, yeah.
Until the next one. Yeah, no, it's that is good to hear, because
Yeah.
I always worry if it's going to be these things that there's a lot of bad coming through and stuff like that. And you're saying that it's felt very well received. It's very well received professionally as well, because I believe you are BAFTA winners.
Yes.
Which must have been an experience. I also remember reading that you are big TV and film fans, so that must have been quite fun.
It was. Do you know what that was just like? Again,
but we laughed about it.
Surreal.
When we were filming at the start, we did Jumbo. I says that's going to be in Gogglebox, and the film crew laughed, and then they got a phone call. It's on Gogglebox, and at the same kind of time, it says they did the preview. And I says doing in Glasgow the farm, so we did the previews. It's like the first episode.
The rat party.
Yeah, the rat party called it, and so it was brilliant. It looked amazing, and it says. You'll get a BAFTA for this. This is absolutely brilliant. Ha ha ha. Like 6 months later, we've been nominated for a BAFTA. Would you, Mel, go down and onto the table? And if we win, will you go up and receive it? I was like,
I think it was like we got invited, didn't we? And then we went down, and it was basically like down in Glasgow, and it was a big,
of course, you're going to
Radisson Blue Hotel, and we nominated. And, I'll get my makeup done and look all nice and swap the wellies for the heels, and you had the kilt on. And the producers were all at the table as well, and we were in the lift, and they were like, now, if we do win it, which we don't know if we're going to, Martin, would you
collect it?
Would you collect it and do a speech? Now, this is Martin does not public speak at all. And I was like, yeah, I'll do that. It'll be great. And he's like, oh my God. Like, and then, of course, like, it was like, okay, so what do you say? And it's not like, we don't know whether we are or we're not. So sat at the tables, and then it's like, and then they go through, it's on a big screen, and the nominees are, and they go through, and they showed, it was, who else was there? There was the guy,
David Buchanan.
No, it's Gordon.
Gordon Buchanan.
Who does the wildlife program.
I'm from the Isle of Arran, and his sister lives there. So
really?
Arran's gem that's not from Arran.
Really?
Yeah.
So he was like, we were against him as well. My mum really likes watching his programs. So I was just like, if you see him, go and get a selfie with him, which we did at some point. And the nominees are, and it all comes through, and we were like, oh my God. And then they opened the golden envelope, and it was like, This Farm Life. And we were just like, I'm going to say it, holy shit. It was like, oh my God. It was just so surreal. So Martin, who doesn't public speak, got up and spoke in front of
all this movie stars.
Yeah. It was amazing. It was great. It was such a great experience. And of course, like they say at the start, now remember that like there are quite a lot of like famous people there. So please, like, don't bombard them with selfies. And of course, who was there? James McAvoy. And we were like, oh, we were doing the fangirling. And I was like, oh my God, there's James McAvoy. Absolutely love him. Like, we love watching films and that. So I vividly remember going up to him, like, danced around, and I was like, well, I go up to him. No, I better not.
And he's short. He's only about 5 feet tall.
He's tiny.
I hear this. Yeah.
He is.
He's absolutely tiny, but and I thought
he was good crack. He
was, and then I thought, I'm going to go up to him. I'm just going to go up to him and say like, "Hey, we really enjoy your films. Is it okay, like if I get a selfie?" And of course, he was like, I'm quite kind of drunk, and I just don't want to like drunk photos appearing up anywhere. So I was like, "Oh right, okay, sorry, fine." So we did it, but then the next morning he said hello to me at breakfast. So like that was my day made, completely made. He was probably like, who's this weird person just staring at me at breakfast?
Wait a minute, they won last night? Oh, I see.
Yeah, I know, exactly. How dare he refuse
I walked about the whole night with the BAFTA trophy.
We did try. We did try and steal it. We did joke about stealing it, but the producers were like, no, they were really good banter, but they were very, very serious. Like, no, you cannot take that. So I can't even think on where it is, but we nicked the gold envelope that.
Yeah, where is that?
It's framed somewhere.
Yeah, so the gold envelope with This Farm Life.
Yes,
that came home with us.
We pinched that.
Yeah, we pinched it.
We pinched that. So that was just again a surreal we're like, and you said in your speech, like, we're little farmers from northeast of Scotland, and to be standing in front of them, and basically, we thank the BBC, as well as like all the families, because they were all fantastic in it. But it's the BBC that's done that good part for farming, because they've obviously decided, right, we want to do a farming program, and we want to do it like this. So
100%, yeah, absolutely.
And then what happened last week with the dairy farmer? And I don't know what to do there.
It was horrific.
It's. I mean, I haven't watched it. I didn't watch the one. What is it? It wasn't BBC. Cowspiracy, Seaspiracy. I didn't watch any of these things because we know these bad things happen, and we have to stop that. But it just tires the whole thing. And
do you know what annoys me in each industry? There are people that do that. In every industry, there are people that are cons, frauds, do bad things. But unfortunately, it seems to be that agriculture gets picked on and hammered every single time. And it's like, I don't know how you can, I just don't know how to get away with it. I really, really don't. And it's probably more like, we need more of this farming life. This is how it's done. We're not all horrible people. Like, I didn't condone anything in that program. It was awful. And I actually found it really, you were out at Badminton, and I found it a really hard watch. It was really, really hard for me to watch. And then you go onto social media, and the dairy people that I follow and that were just horrendously appalled by it, and basically pushed out, like, if you want to find out what we do, follow this page. And I would highly recommend for people, if you're interested to find out the real things that go on, is research it and go and find people that do it, and they will be complete mind change.
I think we probably, you say, like, agriculture is always attacked. I think there's one reason why that happens and makes sense, and that's the fact that you are dealing with animals. It's not just it's not like looking at economics and stuff like that. It's looking at, you're dealing with sentient beings. And the second thing on that point, Mel, is I don't know if it gets hit more than other things, and if it does, it makes sense because everyone eats. But where I think it feels that way is we notice it because it's our thing. Panorama's on every week, and it's exploiting bad things that are happening. And I do wonder if, now, I'm not saying Panorama on the dairy thing was good. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I think we notice it because it's our thing, But yeah, things like that are going to come out. Drama sells, and I think it's good to see that the likes of This Farming Life and whatnot sells as well. The non-drama, and well, there's drama to it, isn't it? But it's positive drama. Sells.
I think what makes this angry is we'll get tarred with the same brush. All dairy farmers are made to look like cat or whatnot, and there is bad farmers out there. That's the sorry thing. But most of us are good. But of course, bad news sells. That's why it's on TV.
Yeah.
But that's why it affects us. We get angry because we get tarred with the same brush. We're all made to look like that. That's the angry bit.
Yeah, 100%. But I think the good thing is we've got folk like yourselves, the folk that are in This Farming Life at the minute.
Yeah.
I mean, I work with the BBC now as well, that are trying to push that positive narrative and get that story out there. And I think agriculture was in a really bad place up until COVID times, and then suddenly it sort of went in a really positive line, and Panorama's knocked it down to ground again, but it'll bounce back, I'm quite certain. So yeah, I would say we're in a positive place for agriculture, but we could sit and talk about Panorama and such things
all night. You don't want to do.
No, we don't. You're right. But it has
social media,
Instagram, things like that. It's getting it out there. Get a story out there. Let people see really what's happening, what things is like, and where their food comes from, how it's done. Yeah, it's good.
So important. Yeah, so important. And I think, I started Rural to Kitchen back in April 2020, so essentially COVID. And my ex-partner, one of her friends at school, had put up on Facebook, just got my son some eggs from the farm just next door. And the wee boy had said, this wee lad would be 5 or 6, had said, I don't want eggs from a hen, I want them from Aldi, right? And that's funny, right? It's cute. But when you look into that, like you actually look into the principle involved in that statement from that kid, that I'm like, geez, that's scary. Like, that's actually scary.
It's very, very scary. And I've actually, just quickly, I've this morning said to where Matthew goes to nursery, and it's actually where Eddie went to nursery as well. I'm hoping to have them out at lambing time, is to get 2 groups of kids out, nursery. So they're like, what, 4 or 5?
Yeah.
3, 4 kind of age, and get them out and show them, look, this is what we do. Look at this little lamb. It then grows into this, and then get that.
And that's where it starts.
It's education.
Come back to Jane, who used to the camera crew. She thought with the story with the antibiotics and the steroids, that's education. That's where it needs to start. I think that this last 5 years, we go the 20 years before that, there just wasn't enough education. Nobody knew where their food was coming from. We need to get that link a lot closer and let people know where their food comes from. And it is good food, and it is.
But make it fun as well and relatable to them. And
Just while I mentioned the hormones again there, Martin, I've remembered what it stands for. Gonadotrophin releasing hormone is the hormone that they inject in the States just behind the ear. That education, that'll be brilliant. I mean, I've been involved in Lambing Lives. You guys have been on the telly for a whole year. None of it was live. Now, not at all taking away from what you guys have done. See that live process? It is so scary. You're dealing with something that we all know goes wrong. We all know goes wrong.
We also did lamb this out. Oh no, it's the rotten one. Please pan away. But then it's real. That's the thing. It's real, and that's what I want to do. Like, I keep referring back to the Instagram thing, but it's like, some people on it are like, this is what we've had, look at all this, and it's all lovely and it's all great. And I go, I don't really want to follow you anymore, because that's not real. And it sounds like weird, but people say that they consume content, and I like to watch the ones that are relatable. Things die. I show things dying. Like, there was one day I'd been out and spoken to a friend, and I was like, oh, you know what, we haven't had a dead cow in I couldn't tell you when. And I come home that afternoon, and what's lying out in the yard, Martin turns around and says, oh, look, honey's just died. And I was like, you are joking me. So I just whipped out my phone basically and went, oh, we've had a great day today. Dead cow. And it's just, we just need to be real about it. And the whole, like, people lambing and say, oh, I didn't have a dead lamb. Well, half the time I'm like, well, one, you have either not lambed enough yows, or you're completely lying. Because it happens. And why? And it's like, farmers always strive to be the better ones, or your scanning was such and such percent. Well, mine was about 5% more. And it's not about that now. I'd like to think that people's attitudes are kind of changing more, and folk being like, oh, you know what, my scanning was terrible. And someone said, you know what, so was mine. And I found out I had a dud tap. Oh, well, that was somebody else that had that, or we had that. Do you know what I mean? It's always
I feel like you're saying that intentionally, Mel, because
no, I'm not.
I'm
just trying to say. Or here's another one for you. My first blue Texel lamb this year, and the lamb didn't have a bum hole. And I just couldn't bloody believe it. I was just like, are you for real? And again, I put it on Instagram, and folk were like, oh, I'm so gutted for you. That happened to us last year. This happened to us. And it's just like, you know what I mean? It's just...
no, absolutely. And when you're talking about bringing those kids on, the Lambing Live, I say we did, that's not fair. A guy, David Henderson, done, you may or may not have seen their Instagram and Facebook, Kilpatrick Farm. It's one on the island. And they basically opened it up. I couldn't have told you how many folk there would have been, but don't think I'm exaggerating saying 150 on the farm.
Was that just come to the farm and see?
Yeah, this was pre-COVID. And it was great, right? My partner and I at the time were in charge of one shed, and Hendo's sister and a friend were in charge of another. And we had 23 lambs in 2 hours, right? And all went well until the last one was a triplet, okay? And first one came out, ideal. And the next one, you know how it's just a complete fankle. I could not work it out. we got the old boy. He came in. He managed to work it out, got our first one out, and then I just jumped in, pulled the last one out, which was dead, right? And I was like, shit, I didn't know if we went over this. Do we talk about this, right?
Yeah.
I was like, and David's wee girls are terrors, for want of a better word. And one of them sort of came round the shed and said, "What about the dead one, Wallace?" Right? And they were like, "Oh, here you go." And as the kids they were started shouting "Lamb Killer," which was a nightmare in general. Right. So you've got all these. I mean, adults, kids, obviously, because it'd be weird to let the kids on the farm on their own. And everyone's came to this one shed. They're all looking at this. And once the embarrassment got over us, and we were like, well, do you know what? Yes, it is dead. We've had 22 healthy lambs here. This one bad one. This is the reality of it. And honestly, you're saying show the 3 and 4 year olds. The adults had no idea. That was what I was teaching more adults about. That one said, "What does lamb meat come from?" And I'm like, a lamb. You know, and that's an adult. That's a 30, 40-year-old, you know. And
they've got that preconception idea that it's a tiny baby lamb rather than a big.
Yeah, for sure.
6 month old. Yeah. Did that generate good questions and conversation between? Yeah. You see, like that, I'm all for that. I just think it's great, and that's probably where we're lucky with our kids. Like they know life and they know death. Like we had a nice little blue Texas lamb, and it just petered out. It didn't last. And Erin, you know, it was one of the cute little ones, and she was hell bent on having it, and it was going to be hers. Yeah. Of course, I'm like, oh God, it's died through the night. So I'm going to tell her. I'm not going to switch it. I'm just going to say.
For sure, yeah.
So I say to her, you know, well, I'm sorry, Erin, but that little lamb died. Oh, did it? I said, yeah, it just wasn't made for this world. And she was like, okay, well, maybe see about another one. So like, you know, there's they've got that connection with it. They know things live and they know things die, which I find it's a good life lesson.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and nothing's ever covered with us. And another wee story is like we when we have a stock bull, we take semen off them. It's a good insurance policy for us. If anything was to happen to him, we've got semen in the tank.
Yes.
Or if we end up selling some to people. And of course, I had Erin with me that day, and Martin was in control of the bull, and we had the guy coming to collect the semen. And of course, we were down. Me and Erin were watching it.
Questions.
Obviously, yeah.
What's happening? I said, well, he's gonna the bull's gonna jump, and he's gonna put his willy in the artificial vagina, and we're gonna collect the semen. Oh, so we're collecting semen? I said, yeah. And then they obviously go back and tell teachers and things, which is hilarious. But again, she doesn't think anything of it.
Yeah.
She thinks, you know, it's education for her. It's hilarious though, and the teachers are like, oh, well, that was an interesting story. And again, I look back at like diaries that I've written as a kid. There's one vivid one my mum will remember also is you used to have half a jotter, you could draw a picture and you'd write half a story underneath. So this was back in the mixed farm and I would have been primary school, and it was like, we had a triplet yow lamb and my dad pulled it out, and then her guts came out the back, and the yow then had to be shot. And a very graphic drawing I had done of this yow on her back with all these swirly redness out the back end of her, and it just makes me think that our kids are definitely going to be like that.
but you gave that example there, Mel, of like words like penis, vagina, and stuff like that have been weirded by society, but they shouldn't be
completely.
Scared of these things that are part of our own bodies as kids because this word can't be said, which is madness.
You can't say that, but it's factual and it's life. And you know, she has said to me not that long ago, how are babies made? And I said, well, it's just like a top and a yow, and that's all I said.
It's important, like that is. I think that's so much better than the sort of pretending it's not a thing and all this.
And a seed gets planted here and then it grows, but I suppose that we'll never really have to have that conversation in much depth with them because they know about it.
Which is you're talking about homeschooling. This is as important. No, brilliant. I honestly, I could sit and talk here forever. But I'm conscious that you guys probably want to get to bed.
I've got a pet lamb to go and feed before I go to bed, so fine.
You've got that joy.
My night score.
You've got the Man United score. All right, okay.
Is it? Well, I see Liverpool are winning 4-0. That's all that matters.
Is it? My United. My United are losing.
Oh dear.
I'm sure you wouldn't have expected any different. No, I don't know. I'm just gonna lose a podcast at this stage.
Just waiting for that turn.
I always finish podcasts with two questions that always sort of bring it to a close. Now, the first answer for your one, Martin, might be seeing Manchester United lift a Premiership again, but that's not going to happen. So the first one is, where do you see yourselves in 5 years? And the second one would be, if you had tips for folk coming into farming, what would they be?
Where do we see ourselves in
5 years?
It's not a long time scale, if I'm honest.
No.
But it's not. I would say that we're probably going to still be where we are.
Yeah.
And premises.
Yeah, we'll still be here. We'll get sheep numbers back up again. The limbs. I've been working a lot of AI this last 2 years.
Right.
I'm getting on really well with it, so I'm kind of mixing a lot of genetics. I'm pushing for shape and style. Kind of a long time I used to go for a lot of size and power. I'm changing. I'm going to shape and style. Working with myostatins and different cows to kind of mix things up. So I think whatever we're doing, we're just going to be doing it the same but better.
More efficient.
Yeah, I want to be more efficient than we're doing. That's the plan, really. Same and better, more efficient.
Brilliant.
Yeah. I like being efficient. That's my thing. I'm OCD about being efficient. So
I'm the same. Obviously not on a farm basis. I'm not on a farm, but yeah, I think just in general.
I just like making things better. I can look at something and say that could be done better. We'll make it better. I like doing that. I like being really efficient and making things better. As for young people getting into farming, it's hard. But I get asked that question a lot. I get emails. Young people not in farming wanting to get in farming, and I'll be honest, it is hard. And all the advice I can do to them is, if you can, get into farming college. That'll be a start. Let you see if you like
of course.
Yeah. And then try and get a job somewhere. And it's hard to get a job in farms, really, because a lot of people have asked us for jobs, but we're not big enough. It's just a family farm. It's just us, which is fine. I like it. But if you could get in a job somewhere and you just get your foot in the door, but I'll be honest, it's hard. Like I said, if you can, go to farming college, SSC, whatnot, and try and get your foot in the door that way. But other than that, it's going to be hard. Yeah.
I would say it is hard, but equally there are people out there that want other people to learn. So if I would say, if anybody is out there, again, don't be afraid to ask people for advice. Don't be afraid to ask people can I come and help for a busy time, even over busy times? Like if you're hell-bent on lambing, it might not be paid work, but it'll be like, can I come and lamb? Can I learn? And, there are a lot of people, we don't have enough work here. I would love to, it's something that I have actually spoken about with your mum and dad as well before, is taking people in at lambing time. I don't know everything about sheep. I completely don't. Nobody does.
Yeah,
that's good to hear. And we're forever learning, but it's something that we might think of in the future. But get out there, ask. Don't be afraid to ask. Join young farmers.
That's a good one.
You learn so much, and it's not just about the farming side. That's kind of like their new phase, isn't it? It's not just for people in wellies, and it's not. There's so many opportunities, like travel. Like some of my really good pals have been out traveling, and things that's turned out to permanent jobs for people, or again meeting their husband and wife out there. Meet so many folk, and the connections that you make are unbelievable, which then can lead on to different things in life. I would just say try and get out there get as much hands-on experience as you can. You can read it all in a book, but it's the hands-on experience
I think
that I would
what you
say.
said, young farmers would be
Yeah.
probably the best place to get in if you're non-farming, to see that kind of like-minded folk, and maybe there could be an alleyway you could go for there, a job you could get from it, or some experience you'll get from it to lead into it.
And don't be discouraged if things don't go quite your way the first time. Like, farming is hard. It's hard. And you know what? When you make a mistake, it's usually a pretty big one, but you soon learn from it. And just get out there and just keep going with it, really.
Good tips, I would say.
Think of any other. Yeah.
Young farmers really is good.
Yeah, it is a good social aspect.
Brilliant
as well.
social aspect of it, actually. I mean,
It is.
we tried to start up the Iron Young Farmers, and we did, and it lasted a few years. I was off the island pretty quick after it, and but even that was brilliant. We knew everyone, but still,
Yeah.
you know,
You got
and for
together. It was
yeah,
good excuses to get
together.
out and do different things. Yes, absolutely. And yeah,
And
5 years time we'll just kind of still be here plodding along, keeping going. Kids will be at school full time, which will be great.
Well, that do you know? I love when that 5-year question, folks say pretty much the same but better, because it means they enjoy what they're doing. So that's a good thing to hear. That you talked about sort of taking someone on for lambing. I don't remember mum and dad not having someone else on the farm. Normally a youngster from nearby. Now, we had Katie originally, who probably joined when she was about 8 and was there till about 14. But then Julie, now 9 till about 16 at this stage, and we've now got another one coming in. And they make it quite clear at the start, look, we can't afford to pay you here, but we'll feed you, and if
paid an experience,
yeah, exactly. And if it wasn't just my face and you were seeing the lower part of my body, we're fed well, and you know, it's that sort of thing. You sort of become part of the family, and if you can get one of those jobs, or not jobs, sorry, one of those experiences on a farm like your own, that's 5-0 by the way, Martin, like somewhere else, you know, that sort of thing, that is brilliant. And if you can manage to find that type of place, if you're someone that's listening looking for that type of thing, absolutely go for it. I would just say one thing that I would advise to check out is the NSA lambing list. Now, this is coming out just after this is going to be of any use for this year, but for future years, if that's the sort of thing you're into, have a look at that. But listen, guys, it's been great to chat. We've chatted for about 2 minutes shy of an hour and a half. It's been brilliant. Really enjoyed it, and yes, hopefully keep in touch after now as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we'll see you at the Highland Show.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, buys a pint for stealing an hour and a half of your night.
Thank you very much for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Not at all. Been a pleasure. And for those of you listening, next week we have Louise Crowley of Instagram fame. And she's coming on to talk about dairy farming, some trespassers that came onto our land during COVID, and sort of carving that lifestyle as a young farmer in Ireland. So thank you very much again for listening, and we shall see you next week.
Well, that's it. Another R2Kast finished, another agricultural mind opened up. And I would just like to say that getting these guests on board, it does take time, and it always has done, but I've now went weekly, and with that comes even more time required. And I would just like to finally thank once more the Scottish Farmer for sponsoring the show and making that much more possible. Please be sure to get in touch if you've any ideas of people you'd like to see on the podcast, or maybe ideas you have for me presenting better, because I definitely do require that. See you in the next one.